Albert Einstein once said, well, not to me personally, but I read that he said once, he quoted, "The definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result," which is insanity. But all of us, maybe we are insane, or at least we are not very clever sometimes, because we do the same things expecting a different result. If you want a different result, if you want progress, you have to do something differently. Now the question is how you address it, how you approach it, and how you perceive it, and where you focus. Some people focus on the dynamic part, that the world is changing all the time. Some people see the world as static, as we cannot, the world is not changing and we have to do as we always did. Some people, they focus on problems. What problems did occur? Whose fault is it? What pitfalls do we have? And some people look at resources, values and growth, and how can we use our resources, how can we do it better. So we have different dimensions. Let's look at a model up here where we can see the different dimensions. The model is called Appreciative Inquiry, or that's within this area called Appreciative Inquiry. Appreciate is something about appreciation and value the things that are already working. So what is already working now, which we can bring into the future and continue. And then you have inquiry, which is to find out, investigate what happened. Both what happened before that we shouldn't repeat, but also what do we need to do in the future. So let's look at the model. If you look at the vertical line, you have the investigative phase on the upper part, and on the lower part the concluding phase, which is more static instead of dynamic. If we look at the horizontal line, on the left side we have consideration of problems and deficiencies, which means what are we lacking and what problems do we have. If we look at the right hand side, we are thinking in terms and resources and values. How can we do it? How can we use the resources we have? And then we get these 4 quadrants. If we look at the upper left quadrant, we'll look at the problem orientation. Which problems do we face? Who's to blame? Who's responsible? We're trying to define the problems. As you probably hear when we're talking about it, it's not helping us that much in the future. Yes, if we don't stay there, but say, okay, what do we need to do differently? So if we go to the lower left quadrant, we are focusing on the concluding phase. Now we know that there's a mistake, it has been made, and team 1 is to blame. We are concluding, this is how it is. We're not bothering about the future or what to change, we're just staying stuck there in the problems, in the past, blaming and finding out who's guilty. If we look at the lower right quadrant, we'll say, okay, if we look at the future, then we have, it was a great effort we already did, and we are doing well here, so this is something we can continue. Earlier on, this is where we did well, we succeeded, maybe we can use that success in the future. But that's a concluding part. So if we just conclude what worked before will work again, maybe it's right, but maybe it's not. If we look at the dynamic part, and the last one is the upper right quadrant, we'll find out that here we have the Appreciative Inquiry and said, okay, what has worked previously? Why did it work back then? How can we repeat it? How much of the previous success can we use again? What was the reason behind our success? Who did well? How did others use it also? So this is just a structure to find out how can we really succeed all the time, instead of just concluding this is not going to work because it didn't work before, or this will work because it did before. No. What did we do well until now, and why did we do it? How did we do it? Investigate a little bit, and what can we still use? So this is a bit about appreciative inquiry. If you want to do it in a group and use it as a tool to facilitate a process, you can use 4 different steps, which is really easy. You can say, 1, what is the, where are we now actually? What are we good at now? What is our baseline? So the first question is to look at the good parts. What are we doing, where are we doing well and succeeding already? The next part, second, is what is our dream? Where would we like to be? If everything's possible, where would we like to be? Then you have the moment of truth in number 3. What is preventing us from already being there, from already having our dream, from already being in number 2? So, moment of truth, what is preventing us? In other words, what should we do even better? And number 4 is, what is the plan? What do we need to do in order to achieve it? What kind of actions? Who will do what and when? So this is a good structure of having the baseline, but looking at the good that's working already, and then build on instead of just blaming and pointing fingers. What do you think will work best?